Hey everybody, what's up? It is 7:58 Eastern. Good morning and good to see you here inside Pivot Shift Ahead. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, maybe you're listening to the podcast version. Thank you so much for choosing to be here this morning and make Pivot Shift Ahead part of what you do and where you hang out. It's a smart choice. I think it's the best free resource in the industry, if I can just say that. I think this is the best free resource in the industry. We had a great session on our pre-show today about how to handle expired listings in a way that's legal. So you're paying attention to do not call and TCPA and all those things so you don't get in trouble. We had so many great ideas around it. So if you're on YouTube or Facebook, go find the podcast version later. It's up by 10 o'clock Eastern time, and wherever you listen to your podcast, and listen to that front half of the call. Really great shares today. So thank you to everybody who shared. Now today we're going to get back to what we picked up on Friday. If you were with us on Friday, you saw me bring up this idea that as we get to the end of the year, it isn't always pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows. Like, you may have had a great year, and then sometimes you get to the end of the year and you're not overjoyed and excited. You're like, ugh. And then sometimes you've had a challenging year and you're not overjoyed and excited about getting to start over. Sometimes you're like, ugh. And we talked on Friday about how you are not defined by your productivity, good or bad. It doesn't define you. It's not who you are. There's no label sitting on you about the kind of agent you are. And if that's a message you need to hear, go back and listen to Friday's call. Or an easy way to do it is we posted a, I don't know, 45-second clip, a 45-second clip that is the key part of the message on my Instagram this morning, at James D. Shaw. Now, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go open your Instagram and go find today's post, the clip from Friday. I need you to share that onto your stories, because all the agents who follow you need to hear this message too. If you would all just open your Instagram right now and go to at James D. Shaw, find today's post, and either repost it or share it on your stories so that the agent community who missed that message on Friday can hear it and recognize a couple of things. Number one, they are not their production. Whatever their production was is not the definition of who they are as a human being. We'll never say that. And then number two, they know about this space, so they can come back and listen to today, where I'm specifically going to talk to those of you who had great years and address the anxiety that comes up for you. Or they can come tomorrow, where I'm going to specifically talk to the agents who weren't super happy with the year and how that does not define who you are, and then how you can move forward. We're going to do that over the next 2 days, and I just think people need to hear it. So go to James D. Shaw on your Instagram and repost or share it as a story. Tell them a little bit about what we do in here. Maybe even share a link to how to get on the call or something. But agents have got to hear this message. They have to, because you should be overjoyed about whatever you accomplish this year, because it's hard. Whether it was a great year or not so great year, it is hard. I want you to celebrate your accomplishment and then redefine how we know when we're successful. That's what we're going to do today. But before we do that, a couple of tell me something goods. Andrea, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Happy birthday to me. Listen, best birthday present ever. I have been on this call not even a full year yet. Today, I get to celebrate by working as a real live grown up listing agent, baby. I got the landscaper coming, I got the stager coming, the cleaners come all at one time today. And I have never had this happen. And I would not have had the courage to level up and tell people, if you want to sell this house, this is what we got to do. And I thank you for everybody's input and all the excellent, wonderful, smart, experienced people. 2026 is going to be phenomenal. I love
No,
y'all. Thank you so
we're
much.
proud of you, no doubt about it. We got time for one more. We're going Linda Brennan today. If I didn't get to you, put it in the chat. Good morning, Linda Brennan.
Hey, James, thanks. I have got to watch my daughter get back out on the soccer field for a showcase. And, it's been a long road. She had ACL replacement surgery, so that took a year to get back there. And the real joy was being back to back with Dan Tamarkin while he watched his daughter on the opposite field. So it was really cool to be out there and see a friend.
I love that. How fun is that? I love you. That is great. Thank you, Linda Brennan. Appreciate you. Thanks to everybody who stays on mute too while others are sharing. That's a huge help. Let's get after it this morning. So Friday, we laid out this idea that anxiety can come to a lot of people this time of year because you're thinking about your business and you're either really happy with how it went and might be a little nervous about what's coming, or you're disappointed with how it went and you're nervous about what's coming, and then you add all of the stuff on it, right? You got the holidays with Thanksgiving next week, which we have no calls, by the way, next week, and then you've got all the winter holidays that come up next month and the New Year's. Just a lot going on, and it can be a stressful time. Anxiety goes up, and so we kind of laid out the foundation of that on Friday. And as I said, today I want to talk to those of you that had strong years. Tomorrow we're going to talk to those of you that maybe the year wasn't so strong. But for those of you who had a strong year, I just want to first remind you that you absolutely crushed it, and congratulations. Congratulations for crushing it. You exceeded expectations. Guys, I'm putting all the hands down because I haven't laid out the call yet. So I know you've got thoughts, but let me walk through this piece of it, and then I'll invite you to raise your hand. You absolutely nailed it. So cheers to you. I'm really proud of you. But then some people are feeling extra pressure even if they've had a really great year. And I guess it makes sense. We don't talk about that a whole heck of a lot on here. Usually we're trying to fix things. But those of you who are succeeding, it might feel strange to say out loud that you are anxious or nervous or concerned or whatever, but it's worth unpacking. I came up with some reasons why I think that sometimes the reasons why high producers and high achievers feel pressure, maybe you don't admit it, but this is the list I came up with. This year was a fluke. That could be one. Worry that you won't be able to repeat it. That's really common. I've heard that a lot. Pressure to perform at that level again. Like I've done it once, so I always have to do that. I think about that, like an Aaron Nelson comes to mind, who started the year with a $7 million deal, which is awesome. And could she now feel pressure that that's what she has to do all the time? That's a possibility. You don't know where the success came from. You know, you weren't sure. Did you get lucky? Or was it timing? Or was it a certain skill? There may be concern that the market will change and that whatever worked before doesn't work anymore. You could just be straight up exhausted from the pace you ran this year, and you wonder, can you keep the production up by slowing the pace? Or you just have this quiet voice. I'm not trying to tell you what you're feeling. I'm just opening the door of some ideas for me, and you can put some other ones in the chat that might be coming to mind for you. Again, we're talking high achievers today, the people who crushed it. Tomorrow we'll talk about those of you who were disappointed in your production this year and what that means. But I'm curious for those of you that honestly you had pretty good years, but you have some anxiety. What is the specific pressure you think you're feeling right now? Put it in the chat. I'm just curious. And maybe it's one of them I listed, or maybe it's something I didn't list, but I would be real curious about it. And I think we just need to think about a handful of things. Is there something about your success that you think might be difficult to replicate? Like, was there some luck involved and there's just something that I don't know if I can replicate that? Is there an expectation now that others had placed on you? Your office, your family, other agents around you? Like, have they now put this expectation on you that's not yours? Like, you're totally okay to not hit that production level again. You're fine with that. You've figured out what you need to do to hit your goals, and it doesn't need to be that much anymore. What is the story you're telling yourself about what next year needs to look like? Where is it that you feel pressure the most? Is it around time or your energy, income, money? Are you comparing yourself to others? I think that we have to remember that a great year is something that should be celebrated, not defended. And what I mean by that is we don't need to make excuses about, well, this happened or, well, that happened. The year is just the year. Whatever happened this year is whatever happened this year. You don't have to defend it. I would like you to understand it. Where did it come from? And what parts of that would you like to repeat? And then is there anything you'd like to change? Because when you define yourself by your result, all that does is add extra pressure to get that result again. But when you define yourself by the process that created that result, it allows you to build and create confidence. You know, I think about when I pay attention to sports. Sports are a great way to do this. And one team wins the championship at the end of the year, or just one. And I imagine the pressure to come back in and repeat that is pretty significant. And yet, if you just know what your process is, and give yourself the best opportunity, you can actually have a good year and not win. And not win the championship because only one team does, but know that you followed your process and for whatever reason that particular day, it just didn't work out for you. But you know that your process,
Slowly like separating everything.
you know that your process will get you on the path to getting back there. Define yourself by your process that created the result to give yourself confidence, not by the result itself, because that gives you pressure. All right, let's unpack it. Now I want your hands up. Ian, good morning.
What's up, man? So I was just thinking next year needs to look like this year with the systems that I've implemented and executed. This whole business is riddled with anxiety, and it's alleviated by repeating the systems you have and that are working, and just hit repeat each year.
It's you get away from the wake up and wonder, Ian. You just get up and you know this is what I do. Like I talk to my database, or I lead gen at this time during the day, or I do my follow up, or I follow my time block, or whatever. Like we figure out what it is that works. You can also go back and say, hey, if there's one thing that might give me some time back or give me a better result that I could implement, what is that? But we've got to get clarity around those things. Ian, thank you. Hope I get to see you this week. I'll be in Raleigh tomorrow. So thank you, buddy. Regina, good morning.
Good morning. This year's been, I'm pretty happy with my goals and everything. And I think the key thing is one, I've been on this call no matter what. And two, working my database. And Anna Kruger said something the other day or a couple weeks ago that I talked to her at in advanced about, but she said, make the conversations have meaning. And so now instead of saying contacts and DTD2, I actually put it to conversations for Colt, who is my grandson now. And so every call I make and every connection I make gets me closer to a visit with him. So this year I took 2 weeks off when my mother passed. I took another week to resolve her estate. I took 2 weeks off when he was born. I was up there just last month, and I've been working 3-day weekends every month to be with my family members. And I still am closing, the number of transactions, and my GCI is $150,000 more than it was last year. And it's all because of really, even if I can't make 10 calls or 20 calls a day, I'm at least making some calls, and I know it's my sphere. So now my challenge is I've been going through the career visioning process and hiring 2 people, one a buyer's agent and an admin person, because during this whole process, I've fired 2 transaction coordinators because they couldn't deliver the service that I wanted, that I want people to refer me to. And my business is really based on that referral. And it's been amazing to see the referral business that I've had. And I got a coach too. So
It's
that, and I also walked out on distractions. I've kind of told our market center, I'm done with these distractions. I don't want to be, wasting my time doing something which is just going to be a distraction.
100%. There's a lot there. The first is that you've gotten very specific and purposeful about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I think that's something we need. And then you know what's working. Folks, we got to know what's worked, what didn't work, and what's next. And I did a session on that for you. I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now. You can also listen to it on the podcast version if you want to go find it. Inspire members, I wrote out a series of reflection questions on a worksheet that you can just print out or do in the PDF if you want to answer. Spend 20 minutes, sit down and do those. Leah McCann said it's the best worksheet we have ever created. That's what she told me at Advance. To be able to sit down and go do these reflection questions. So again, you can work from a point of clarity. And then I want to remind you that this year doesn't mean anything. I had a thought on Friday that what if we stopped hitting the reset button on January 1st and starting over from zero? And what if you always looked at your business from the perspective of a rolling 12 months? That every month so when we get December to December, you take out December of 24, and now you're starting with December 25 or you're, going 12 months back, December 25 back to November 24, and just keep it on a rolling 12 months. Would that make you feel better? Like, who says you have to start over on January 1? I know your office does and all those things reset. But what if you just, your perspective on your business was a rolling 12 months? I think you might feel a little bit better. Bree, good morning.
Hey, and good morning. So I put in the chat, like for me coming back into production after being a team leader for 2 years, I've wanted to like fast track that momentum that I left when I went into leadership. So for me coming back into it, there's the not necessarily anxiety, but just the want to hurry up and get back to where I was. And I've also felt the growth. I've had an amazing first year back into production, and I feel like I'm growing, if you could say, like horizontally, right? But there's still that need and that want to grow, like vertically, and to scale my business and to go to that next level of being purposeful. And I think that's why things like your events with, like right now, I don't. It's not in the stars to get a live assistant, right? But you had an amazing event on how we can leverage the resources that we do have with our time and with our technology. And then just with, John Acuff and how we just kind of made it to bite-sized, doable actions that help us move the needle forward. It's just like with football, it's just like 1 inch, 1 yard until we get to that end zone. So I just continue to focus on my values, keeping those at the core of who I am in my business: God, you, family, then business, and then everything else will find its place. So being intentional in the things that really matter and just following that every day.
That's why I want you to go do the worksheet. I mean, the bottom line is I want you to go do the worksheet so you can be intentional about the things that matter and the things that work. Bree Vaughn, thank you so much. Hey, Leah Jost, good morning.
Good morning. So you started talking about this, and all I could think about was how I'm a firstborn daughter, the firstborn granddaughter. I'm a Capricorn. I'm an Enneagram 3. I have no ability to separate kind of myself from my business. I am my business, and that's something I really struggle with. I've had an incredible year, and when you started listing all the reasons why we might be feeling anxiety, my palms started sweating so hard because that is literally all of those reasons are me. Now, part of what I get anxiety from, James, is you. And you
Yeah,
know this because I give you a hard time every
yeah,
year.
yeah.
But I'm not going to have 10 to 15% under contract come January 1. I'm not. I looked at my numbers this year. I had one closing in January, zero in February, and then seven in March. For me, seasonality is a really big thing, rightly or wrongly, it just is. But what I'm realizing for this next year is one, very similar to what Ian said. We're going to copy and paste this year. We're going to do it all again. And then I'm adding in one or two more things. So we're adding in a VIP program to really love on our top referral partners. And we're going to increase the number of events we do. And it's going to be great. But just trying to get kind of narrowly focused on what worked and then plussing it is my plan for next year.
That's the point. Figure out what worked, go do more of what works, double down on those strategies that work, and you'll be good. And I do know the 10 to 15% stresses some people out. So if it stresses you out, don't worry about it. Just don't do that. Others of you do want to have a number to be able to hit as you go into the year, and that is your number. But at the end, I just want to go, were you pleased with how things came out? And if you were, what worked, what didn't, what's next? Were you not pleased? Okay, no problem. What worked because something did? What didn't? What's next? That's why we did the whole piece on that. And then go run your plays. Leah, thank you so much. Rhett Campbell, good morning.
Hey, good morning, James. I have definitely been taking notes. It looks like a mad mess on my paper. Hopefully, I can get it all out. One thing that stood out to me is the advice that you have given us about the 1/3s. Your entire year is not going to look great. There's going to be times where it's good, there'll be times it's bad, and there'll be times where it's great. And I would have us remind ourselves of that throughout the year. When we have those bad days, just saying, hey, this is just one of those days, but you're always going to have more than you have bad. Secondly, my goal that I set this year, my GCI goal, I did not hit my goal. When you say that, it makes you feel a little tinge of shame, or I come up short, or I didn't perform as well as I wanted to. Well, I hit about 99% of my
Come
goal.
on, then. Let's go.
So, as a matter of fact, on that, the goal that I wanted to hit, I was about 99% there. It was still significantly more than what I did last year, which I was extremely grateful for. One thing I would say is this. Well, and another thing I wanted to say too is during about 1/3 of the way through this year, I had no idea where the next closing was coming from. I felt completely lost. So I would remind you that that's going to happen even if you are having success. If you had success, I would tell you to don't drift. There's a recent book that I'd read. It's called Outwitting the Devil, and it really, really dives off into that about deviating from doing what you know you should be doing at the times you know you should do it. Unless for that you are don't deviate or drift from what you know what works unless it's for intentional improvement, and then only do so much that it does not overwhelm you. And then lastly, if you did not have the success that you saw, and I would tell you to drift, but only more outside of your comfort zone to get there. I hope that helps, James. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Rhett. I appreciate you. It's really good. Tomorrow, we're going to go in for those of you that are disappointed, right? That weren't happy with your result this year and have some anxiety, stress, nervousness about it too. The advice is the same for either one, whether you had a great year or you're kind of disappointed in the year. First, figure out what was the process that got you the results and what part of that process worked. And then just commit to doing that process today. And then tomorrow you can commit to tomorrow, and the next day you can commit then. But just commit to today, because we're not attempting to recreate an entire year on November 17th. We're just recreating the steps that work to get the results that you want. Great years will only create pressure when you feel like you have to beat them. But we will create confidence when we understand what built it. So you have a choice. You can create pressure because you think you have to beat it, or confidence because you know what built it. Go back to your process and start from there. Now, tomorrow, we're back and better than ever to focus on those of you that are going, must be nice. Boy, must be nice to be anxious about all the great results and all the money you made. We're going to talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Go to James D. Shaw on the Instagram and share the story from today. People need to hear it. When the podcast comes out at 10 o'clock Eastern, share that with people who need to hear it, and then come back tomorrow. We'll see you then. You got your inspiration. Go put in the perspiration. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
James.
Bye, John.